Get through y'all head, man. Y'all don't see it? Come on, man. Y'all don't see it? All these guys had the opportunity to fight Loma. You know why they didn't do it? Because they wanted the financial part. Come on, man. I don't blame them. You got to get paid. But when I say I'm the best believe I mean it. And I show it. Feels good to be back. Davis and Garcia is not happening. And if it does, I'll be surprised. But that fight ain't happening. So y'all don't get y'all hopes up, man. Don't get y'all hopes up. That fight's not happening. It's all a fucking, it's a teaser. I remember that time they said they were in spar. It never happened. The same thing here. Those guys ain't gonna fight each other. Not yet, at least. Their promoters won't allow it. Their promoters won't allow it. Woo. Cat. Hey. I can't wait, yo. To everybody, man. All right. You guys wanted to hear it. Everybody that's still on, y'all wanted to hear it. The end of April, beginning of May is my fight date. Well, my fight month. Guess who? We're in the works of it. We're going to throw contracts at Devin. We're going to throw contracts at Kambosos. Whatever we get back with, as long as we find a medium, we all agree on the terms, then that's your fight. They all going to know. Why you think Devin said April? Everything's already falling into place, ladies and gents. Y'all just got to wait. Y'all so impatient. It's going to come. All of it's going to come. Y'all just got to be patient with it. These things don't come overnight. Same way it becoming Undisputed World Champion. It don't come overnight. 18 years of hard work for a reason. You hear what I'm saying? All right, then.
Delusions from Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez says he started the trend of Undisputed. Man. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Teofimo Lopez verified page says, they just said we'll make everyone else undisputed at this point to defeat the purpose. LOL. Just remember, I brought that trend back. Hashtag the takeover. Now, this makes no sense. Let's talk about it. Come in, hit the like button. Smash the like button, subscribe. Teofimo Lopez has been in no man's land since his loss to George Kambosos, and it really sounds like he's in a sunken place. He's claiming credit, of course, after Jermell Charlo defeated Brian Castano, right? Now, since Terrence Crawford, I don't know anybody that achieved Undisputed by knockout, by way of knockout. You look at Terrence Crawford, he's the one guy that I'm thinking about where he knocked out Ndongo in the 3rd round. So he got a knockout to achieve Undisputed. But you got guys like Alexander Usyk, he didn't win by knockout to become Undisputed. Josh Taylor didn't win by knockout to become Undisputed. And then Jermell Charlo, he did win by knockout. Now, even though Terrence Crawford also was Undisputed and also won by knockout and an earlier knockout, let's not act like we appreciate Ndongo at that given time and as if he's the same caliber threat to Terrence Crawford's style, and I was at that fight, as a guy like Brian Castano. That's what we're not going to do. So Jermell Charlo is the first junior middleweight to become Undisputed. Not only is that the case, but he also fought the highest level of competition. You have to keep in mind, 154 is a very stacked, top 3 stacked division. If you look at all divisions, from lightweight, got a lot of players in it. 140 starting to fill out. 47 got a lot of people. Light heavyweight, Dmitry Bivol, kind of Canelo, Better Biev, Joe Smith. So there's some divisions with a lot of great talent, but 154 has been for several years one of the top 3, if not top 2, top 1 type of division. So Jermell Charlo defeated the highest other ranked person outside of himself, because he can't fight himself and clone himself, to become undisputed. So really, Terrence Crawford's undisputed, and this is not a way to minimize the accomplishment. And the other thing I gotta quickly note is that undisputed was here way before Teofimo was even born. You know, you got guys like Bernard Hopkins, Lennox, and Jermaine Taylor, and people who were undisputed beforehand, and other guys that I mentioned in this video. Terrence Crawford, Usyk, you got guys like Winky Wright and Lennox. They were all undisputed before Teofimo. So how is he taking credit like he started some type of trend when this has been around since boxing? Match up well, like what Castano's capable of. Because even with the loss, I still think Castano, is, as long as he doesn't lose his head, or as long as the knockdown doesn't discourage him to the point where he doesn't look like the same fighter, I still think he's a problem. I still think if he keeps his head on straight and, you know, looks how he's always looked, then he's a formidable foe for the other guys at 154. He just couldn't beat Jermell. Now back to Teofimo. I mean, to me, I think it's classless when fighters wait for another fighter to have a big moment or accomplishment, and then they kind of chime in with their 2 cents, like, oh, hey, I did it first, or I'm me, and this. Like, the world is not me. You know, I think the world is actually a better place when you give back. And Teofimo, instead of saying congratulations to Jermell Charlo, which is obviously what he's indirectly or subliminally talking about, he's using it to like try to boomerang back to him. And you did what you did. You beat Lomachenko, but this is Jermell Charlo's time. So I'm real big on that, on perspective. Just let people have their time, you know, instead of trying to upstage them. The other thing is, you know, whether we're talking about Usyk, Canelo, Josh Taylor, Jermell, those guys really did the undisputed feat. Teofimo was never even really undisputed. So that's the even bigger issue here, is on top of upstaging or, you know, trying to be the scene stealer, you're talking about undisputed when Devin Haney had a belt in the 154-pound category. There's no one that has an actual full-body belt like Devin Haney has and is fighting George Kambosos. So to me, it just sounds like Teo's kind of in a sunken place, because Devin called out Teofimo, so Teofimo could have fought Devin, right? But he chose not to. And he's like, oh, we're sending an offer to Kambosos, and we got another offer, and we sending that to Devin and whoever gets back to us. But we knew that wasn't happening. I predicted that. Very easy for Ego Stradamus to predict. Now Devin is doing what even Teo didn't do. Like, we got to really analyze. That's why I said I'm big on perspective. We got to analyze it. Devin, some people say, oh, he doesn't have power like that. He's not a power puncher. And he's going to Kambosos' backyard twice to fight him. So that shows you the level of confidence that the Haney camp has. Teofimo had the home court advantage fighting in New York and got beat and beat up by and dropped by George Kambosos. Of course, we got to see how Devin Haney fares, but he's going to enemy territory. He's going to Australia to fight the man. And Teofimo's on the sideline. We don't know his return. We don't know when he's coming back. And he's all talking about how he was undisputed and he started any trend. How could you start a trend when you weren't even really undisputed? That's like I get a tattoo above my belly button and I say I started it, and I get it in the art like Tupac when he got that thug life, baby. How did you start that? How you claiming credit? And that's like me, even worse, if I want to make the analogy even more comparable to Teofimo, that's like me getting a temporary tattoo arced across my stomach and over my navel, and I'm saying I started this, and it's a wash-off tattoo. You know, it's a tattoo that you take a couple showers and the tattoo is removed, versus when Tupac had ink, that was ink for life. He took that, you know, in death and to the grave with him. Like, he had real life tattoo. Teofimo, he had a temporary tattoo and said, I'm undisputed. And ESPN ran with it and old media ran with it. But that wasn't actually the case. Now he's in between a rock and a hard place because ESPN, now that they lured over Devin Haney from DAZN, they had Teofimo and George Kambosos on DAZN. Now that they've lured them away and the fight is on ESPN, now old media is just catching up to your boy Boxing Ego and calling George Kambosos and Devin Haney what it really is, the battle for Undisputed. So that is really a battle for Undisputed because Devin Haney, old media thought that they could mistreat Devin Haney, a black fighter, right, from the Bay Area who represents Las Vegas as well. And they thought they could just ish on him and Lomachenko could be the franchise champion and didn't have to fight him. And then Lomachenko moves on to fight Teofimo, who beats him. And then Teo don't have to fight him. And they wanted to relegate this black champion, Devin Haney, to the Pride champion. They want to relegate and minimize his effort and accomplishments and him seeking out the best. And they wanted to call him the email champion. But it doesn't work like that because God don't like ugly. And when you do well in this world, typically it comes back to you in some form or fashion. And that's what happened. Devin Haney was not discouraged by the email champions and all the insults and you got your belt in the mail and all these things that people were saying. Him and Bill Haney, they trusted the process, have faith in what they were doing, and just kept working and working. And now a big opportunity presented itself. And Devin Haney Kambosos, that fight is all that. And people get to see an actual Undisputed, while sideline Teo is just talking. He's on the bench, don't know when he's coming back, don't know nothing about his next fight. Tank got a fight, big fight, 30,000 plus tickets sold versus Rolly, a friend of Teofimo's. And Teo's talking about he started the trend of Undisputed. And another reason, just finally, that's kind of poor form is because boxing is a what have you done for me lately type of sport. Nobody cares if you had one win and then you had the first title defense and then lost it, and you currently are in that no man's land where you got to come back and capture a W. People only remember really, you know, what you did last. And Teo has no belts and he's moving up to a whole different division. We don't know how he fares in that new division. And he's talking about belts that he had and claiming Undisputed, but we know it was not the real Undisputed. In the last 30 days, 50% of you guys watched my content, subscribed. Thank you. The other 50% did not. This is your reminder. I do not have a big corporation that is controlling the channel or feeding the channel. So I rely on you guys for the success of the channel and getting the message out there to other interested boxing fans. So if you could share the video, like the video, subscribe, these forms of engagement really go a long way so others can get the content. Let me know how I did in this video, and I'm out.
The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation.